Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to Real World, Real Stories. I am James. Today we talk about something very important. It is happening right now. It can change the world.
And I am Olivia. Hello, everyone. Today's topic is serious, but do not worry. We explain everything simply and slowly. This channel is for people who learn English and want to understand real-world news.
Imagine this. One small passage of water. It is only 33 kilometers wide, and 20% of the world's oil passes through it every day. Now, it is closed. Ships cannot pass. The whole world is worried.
That passage is called the Strait of Hormuz, and right now there is a very big crisis there. The United States gave Iran a deadline, 48 hours. That means do this now, or we attack. Today, we explain what is happening and why it matters to you.
Before we start, if you are new here, welcome. This channel is specially for English learners. We talk about real news from the real world. We speak slowly and clearly. Please write your country in the comments. We love to see where our listeners are from.
And please like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps other English learners find us. Okay, James, let's tell our listeners what we covered today. There is a lot to talk about.
Yes, today we talk about 6 things. First, what is happening right now? Second, where is the Strait of Hormuz? Third, who are the important people in this story? Fourth, what happens to oil prices and money? Fifth, what can happen next? Sixth, what does this mean for the future?
And I want to say something important. We are not here to create fear. We are not on any political side. We just want to help you understand the world. Think of us as your 2 friends who explain the news simply and honestly.
Exactly. And remember, listening to real English content like this is one of the best ways to improve your English. So relax, listen carefully, and learn with us. Let's begin.
Let's go.
Okay, so what is happening right now? On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel attacked Iran. This was a military operation. Many people were surprised. The situation changed very fast after that.
After the attack, Iran did something very powerful. Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz. That means Iran stopped ships from passing through. This happened on March 4, 2026. Now it is March 22. The strait is still closed. That is almost 3 weeks.
And why is this a big problem? Because the Strait of Hormuz is like a door. It is the door for oil. Every day, millions of barrels of oil pass through that door. Japan gets oil through that door. India gets oil through that door. China gets oil through that door.
Think about this. In normal times, about 90 ships pass through the strait every day. Now, only about 5 ships pass each day. Some days, 0 tankers, 0 ships. Oil is not moving, and the world is very nervous.
Now, on March 22nd, President Trump wrote something on social media. He gave Iran 48 hours. Trump said, "Open the strait, or we attack your power plants." Power plants are places that make electricity for the country. Iran needs them to function. This is the ultimatum. Ultimatum, a final demand with a deadline.
And Iran answered back. Iran said, if you attack our power plants, we will attack American energy infrastructure in the region. Infrastructure. That means important buildings and systems, roads, power lines, oil facilities. This is a very dangerous situation. Both sides are making serious threats.
I want to give some historical context now. Context means background information that helps you understand. This is not the first time countries close important waterways. In 1956, Egypt closed the Suez Canal, another very important water passage. The world panicked, but diplomats found a peaceful solution. History shows us dangerous crises can end with talking, not fighting.
I understand your point, James, but I am not sure the situation is the same as 1956. Today, Iran has missiles that can reach ships and bases in the whole region. The risks are higher now, much higher. We cannot just say, history says it will be okay.
That is a fair point. You are right to be careful. But let us continue. Let's look at the geography. Our listeners need to understand where this is happening on the map.
Good idea. And listeners, think about this question while we explain. Ask yourself, why would one small passage of water be so important to the whole world?
Wait, before we continue, I need to say something. Yesterday, just one day before the ultimatum, Trump told journalists something completely different.
What did he say?
He said the U.S. is close to achieving its goals. He said they were thinking about stopping the military operation. One day, we are almost done. The next day, open the strait or we bomb your power plants.
Yes, Newsweek called this striking contradictions. In 24 hours, completely opposite messages.
So, is this strategy or is this confusion?
I don't know, and that is the problem. Nobody knows. When leaders send opposite messages, markets panic, and dangerous mistakes happen.
Uncertainty, not knowing what will happen, is sometimes more dangerous than a clear decision.
Exactly. The world is watching two clocks right now, the 48-hour clock, and the bigger question, does anyone really know the plan?
Okay, listeners, let's talk about geography. Where is the Strait of Hormuz? Imagine the Middle East on a map. On one side, you have Iran. On the other side, you have Oman and the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. Between them is a small passage of water. That is the Strait of Hormuz. It is only 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest point.
33 kilometers is not very wide. For comparison, that is about the same distance as from one side of a big city to the other side. It is a very small passage, but it is one of the most important places in the entire world.
Why is it so important? Because behind that strait, there is the Persian Gulf. And in the Persian Gulf, there are some of the world's biggest oil producers. Saudi Arabia is there, Kuwait is there, Iraq is there, Qatar is there, the UAE is there. All their oil must pass through the strait to reach the world.
Think of it like this. Imagine one highway connects your city to all other cities. Now, someone closes that highway. All the trucks stop. All goods stop moving. That is what is happening with the Strait of Hormuz. It is the world's most important energy highway, and it is closed.
And there is one more important detail. The strait is not just for oil, it is also for LNG. LNG stands for liquefied natural gas. Say it with me, LNG. We use natural gas to heat our homes and make electricity. 20% of the world's LNG passes through the strait. Europe and Asia need this gas very much.
So when we say the Strait of Hormuz is closed, we are saying a big part of the world's energy is stuck. It cannot move. And the longer it stays stuck, the bigger the problem for everyone on the planet.
Now, let's talk about the key players. Who are the important actors in this story? First, the United States. President Trump gave the ultimatum. The U.S. military is already in the region. American warships are in the area right now.
The U.S. has a big reason to care about this. Yes, the U.S. now produces a lot of its own oil, but the world economy is connected. When oil prices go up everywhere, American families feel the pain too. More money for petrol, more money for heating, more money for food. Everything becomes more expensive.
Second key player, Iran. Iran closed the strait. Iran says, if you attack us, we fight back. Iran has a powerful military, especially missiles. They can reach ships in the Gulf. They can reach American military bases in the region. Iran is not a small player in this conflict.
But Iran also has a big internal problem. The war is making life very difficult inside the country. The Iranian economy was already weak before this war. Now it is worse. Some Iranians are protesting against their government. The Iranian leaders have pressure from inside too, not just from outside.
Third key player, Israel. Israel worked with the U.S. in the original attack on Iran. Israel has its own reasons. There is a long history of conflict between Israel and Iran. In this story, Israel and the U.S. are partners, but their goals are not always exactly the same.
And I want to mention one very important quiet player, China. China gets about 40% of its oil through the Strait of Hormuz. China is watching everything very carefully. China has not said much publicly, but in private, China is very worried. A long blockade is a serious problem for the Chinese economy.
And Japan and South Korea, too. They get most of their oil from the Persian Gulf. They cannot easily switch to other suppliers. This crisis hits Asia very hard. These countries are watching every development very closely.
And finally, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is in a difficult position. It is an American ally, a friend of the U.S., but it does not want a big war in its neighborhood. Saudi Arabia is trying to quietly send some oil through other routes, but these routes are much slower and more expensive.
So we have many players, all with different interests, all watching each other. This is what makes the situation so complex, so difficult, and with so many parts.
And when many powerful countries all want different things, finding one solution is very, very hard.
Okay, now the economic dimension. Economy means money, jobs, prices, trade. How is this crisis affecting the economy? Let's start with oil. Before the war, 1 barrel of oil cost about $72. Today, it costs $106. That is a very big jump in a short time.
And at its highest point, oil reached $126 per barrel. That is almost double the price from before the crisis. When oil is expensive, everything becomes expensive. Petrol, heating, airline flights, food transport. All of these need oil, and so they all cost more.
In the United States, the price of petrol at the pump went up by 65 cents per gallon since the start of the war. That sounds small, but for a family that drives every day, it adds up quickly. More money for petrol means less money for food, for education, for saving.
And it is not just the US. In Asia, in Thailand, in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, people are waiting in long queues at petrol stations. In the Philippines, diesel fuel now costs more than 104 pesos per liter. In Europe, gas prices almost doubled. This crisis is touching real people all over the world.
Economists, people who study money and economies, say this: if the strait stays closed, there could be a recession. Recession is a very important word. It means the economy gets smaller, people lose jobs, businesses close. It is a very difficult time for everyone. Goldman Sachs, a big American bank, says the chance of a recession is growing.
Ask yourself this. When you buy food at the supermarket, do you think about oil? Probably not. But every truck that delivers food uses diesel fuel. Every ship that brings rice or wheat uses fuel. When oil prices go up, food prices go up too. This crisis touches our daily lives, even if we live far from the Middle East.
Olivia, I want to ask you something directly. Do you think the 48-hour ultimatum is real? Or is it a negotiation tactic, using strong words to get what you want without actually fighting?
What do you mean exactly?
Maybe Trump doesn't really want to bomb power plants. Maybe he is using pressure, saying big words to make Iran open the strait without a real attack.
Maybe, but James, what if Iran doesn't believe it's just words? What if Iran decides to attack first?
That is the risk, yes.
That is not a small risk. That is how wars get bigger. One threat, one response, one mistake, and suddenly a much bigger conflict.
You are right. I was being too optimistic.
I am not trying to create fear. I am trying to be honest. The next 48 hours are very important. Very.
Okay, what can happen next? Let's look at 3 possible scenarios. A scenario is a possible story about the future. Scenario 1. Iran opens the strait. Maybe Iran and the US find a diplomatic solution, a solution through talking. Ships move again. Oil prices slowly go down. This is the best scenario.
It is the best scenario. But is it realistic? Iran already said it will not open the strait under military pressure. It is a question of national pride, feeling strong and proud in front of your own people. If Iran opens because of Trump's ultimatum, it looks weak to its own citizens. That is very difficult politically.
You are right, it is not easy. But diplomacy, solving problems through official talking, has worked in the past, even with Iran. In 2015, the US and Iran made a nuclear agreement after many years of negotiations. Talks are always possible. History shows this.
Scenario 2. The U.S. attacks Iran's power plants. Then, Iran attacks American and Israeli targets in the region. Other countries get involved. The war gets much bigger. This is called escalation, when a conflict grows bigger and more dangerous. In this scenario, oil could go above $150 per barrel. A global recession becomes almost certain.
Scenario 3, and I think this is actually the most likely, a partial solution. Maybe Iran opens the strait just a little, lets some ships through but not all. Or a third country, maybe Qatar or Oman, helps start negotiations. Things get a little better, but the problem is not fully solved.
And honestly, James, a partial solution can also be dangerous. Both sides can say they won, but the fundamental problem, the war, the conflict, is still there. It waits for the next crisis. Solved for now is never the same as truly solved.
That is a very wise observation. And our listeners should remember, none of these scenarios is certain. The world is watching. The next few days will tell us a great deal.
Exactly. And whatever happens, you will understand it better now because you understand the background. That is the power of education.
Now, why is this problem so hard to solve? Let's talk about the main challenges. First challenge, both sides feel very strongly. The US and Israel attacked Iran. Iran lost people and buildings in that attack. Iran is angry. Strong anger makes negotiation very difficult. It is hard to talk when you are very angry.
Second challenge, trust. Do the US and Iran trust each other? No, not at all. They have not had normal diplomatic relations since 1979. That is 47 years ago. Diplomatic relations means official contact between countries, ambassadors, embassies, formal communication. Since 1979, there's none of this between the US and Iran.
Third challenge. There is no easy replacement for Persian Gulf oil. Saudi Arabia is trying to send more oil through other routes, through pipelines and through the Red Sea. But these routes are slower. They cannot carry as much oil. They cannot replace everything that normally passes through the strait every day.
Fourth challenge, time. Every day the strait stays closed, the economic damage gets bigger. Prices go up more people lose money. The longer the problem continues, the harder it is to recover. Recover means to get better after a difficult time. This is why the world cannot just wait and see.
So the challenges are strong emotions, no trust between the sides, no good alternative routes, and the pressure of time. This is why global crises are so hard to solve. It is never just one problem. It is always many problems at the same time.
And sometimes, to be very honest, these crises are not solved perfectly. They are just managed, made a little less bad. That is often the reality of international politics. It is not always a clean, happy ending.
Now, what about the long-term future? What are the long-term consequences of this crisis? Consequence means what happens as a result. First, this crisis is making many countries think about energy independence. That means not depending on other countries for your energy. Europe started this work in 2022. Now, even more countries are thinking about it seriously.
And what does energy independence look like in practice? It means more solar energy panels, more wind turbines, more electric cars. It means spending money on renewable energy, energy from nature, like the sun and wind. James, in a strange way, this terrible crisis might actually speed up the move to cleaner energy. High oil prices make people think, why do we still depend so much on this?
That is a very interesting point, Olivia. And I agree. History shows us every major oil crisis eventually pushes the world toward cleaner alternatives. After the 1973 oil crisis, many countries started working on solar energy for the first time. Pain creates change. That is a pattern we see many times in history.
But, and this is very important, the transition takes time, years, maybe decades. Right now, today, people need oil. They need gas. They cannot just switch to solar power tomorrow morning. So the short-term pain is real, especially for people in poorer countries who spend a bigger part of their income on energy.
This crisis will also change geopolitics, how countries relate to each other. Countries that produce a lot of oil, like the US, Norway, Canada, become more powerful in this situation. Countries that depend on imported oil, like Japan, Germany, South Korea, are more vulnerable. Vulnerable means easy to hurt or damage.
And there is one final long-term lesson. The Strait of Hormuz has been a known risk for many years. The world knew it could be a problem, but not enough was done to prepare. This is a lesson about planning, thinking ahead before the crisis, not during it.
Olivia, I have to ask you something personal. How worried are you right now? Honestly.
Honestly?
Yes, honestly.
Very worried. Not just about oil prices, about the next 48 hours. One mistake, one miscalculation can make everything much worse very fast.
But you still believe a diplomatic solution is possible.
I want to believe it, but wanting to believe something and actually believing it are different things. Do you believe it, James?
I do. I have to. History shows us even the most dangerous face-to-face standoffs can end without catastrophe. In 1962, the US and the Soviet Union were very close to nuclear war. It was called the Cuban Missile Crisis. Both sides stepped back. They found a way. I believe humans can always find a way.
Cuba, 1962. Yes, but it was very close. Very, very close. Let's hope this time is the same, that people step back in time.
Now, our vocabulary section. This is a special part of every episode. We review the most important English words from today. These are real words. You can use them when you read the news, at work, or in conversations. Let's start. Word number 1, ultimatum. An ultimatum is a final demand with a deadline. You say, do this now, or there will be serious consequences. Trump gave Iran an ultimatum. Open the strait in 48 hours or face an attack. Word number 2, infrastructure. Infrastructure means the important systems a country needs to function. Power plants, roads, water systems, bridges. In today's story, both sides threatened each other's infrastructure.
Word number 3, recession. A recession is when the economy gets smaller. Jobs are lost, prices go up, businesses close. Economists use this word a lot in the news. You might hear, the country entered a recession, or we are trying to avoid a recession. Word number 4, escalate. To escalate means to get bigger and more dangerous. A small argument can escalate into a big fight. A military threat can escalate into a real war. This is a very useful word for understanding news about conflicts.
Word number 5, diplomatic. Diplomatic means related to official communication between countries. A diplomatic solution is a solution found through talking, not fighting. A diplomat is a person who represents their country officially in another country. You can also use diplomatic to describe a person who is very careful and polite in difficult conversations. Word number 6, vulnerable. Vulnerable means easy to hurt or damage. A country that imports all its oil is vulnerable. A person without savings is financially vulnerable. And word number 7, transition. A transition is a change from one state to another. The energy transition means moving from oil and gas to clean energy, like solar and wind. These 7 words, ultimatum, infrastructure, recession, escalate, diplomatic, vulnerable, transition, you will see them again and again in the news. They are powerful words to know.
Listeners, write these words down. Try to use them this week. When you read the news and you see one of these words, stop and smile, because now you understand it. That is real progress in English, and that is exactly why we do this show.
Okay, it is time to finish. Let's review the most important lessons from today. Lesson 1. The Strait of Hormuz is a tiny passage of water, but it controls 20% of the world's oil. When it is closed, the whole world feels it. Small geography can have enormous power.
Lesson 2. This crisis is not just about politics and military strategy. It is about real people. Families paying more for petrol, workers losing jobs, students paying more for food. When we understand global events, we understand our own lives better.
Lesson 3. The world is connected. Events in a small strait in the Middle East affect prices in the Philippines, in Germany, in Brazil, in South Korea. We are all part of one global system. Understanding this system helps you understand the news and the world much better.
And lesson 4. Uncertainty is not something to be afraid of. Yes, the next 48 hours are important. Yes, nobody knows exactly what will happen. But knowledge helps you stay calm. When you understand why something is happening, it is less frightening. You can watch the news with curiosity, not panic.
And remember, every time you listen to this show, you are doing two things at the same time. You are learning about the real world, and you are improving your English. This is slow, patient listening, and it is one of the very best things you can do for your language skills.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend who also learns English. Help them find us. And in the comments below, tell us your country, your thoughts about today's topic, and one new word you learned today. We read every comment. We love hearing from you.
Stay curious, dear listeners. Stay calm. The world is complex, but it is also fascinating. And every week, we are here to help you understand it, one story at a time.
Thank you for being with us today. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you in the next episode of Real World, Real Stories. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.